In what ways does your opening film sequence of a new fiction film use horror, rom-com or thriller forms, genres or conventions? At the very start of the production there is a voiceover of one of the scientists scared for what he has released into the world. This is a popular convention within the horror genre as it instantly tells the audience that this is a bad situation, and to add to the forthcoming events that follow, it is told to the audience by scientists, and because of the high status and figure it is instantly believed, amplifying the event further. The first scene, with picture, is silent. We used a lot of long silences as they added tension. It built on the horror genre conventions and maybe even touching into thriller or action as it leads up to a pinpoint event the audience are waiting for. We thought about putting eerie music over the silences to increase the horror convention theme, however we believe that this was a more refreshing challenging to the horror convention, creating these scenes silent. Furthermore, bringing in tension. When the tension was released and an action scene broke out, however we used silence in hand with a lot of noise to our favour. For example, one of the first scenes when Brian is being chased, it cuts from loud frantic POV shaky cam to shots to black silence. We thought this also added attention to the action scenes as it demonstrated a sense of controlled madness, which kept the audience entertained, wanting to know what is going to happen. This is used in thriller and action films, mainly in gunfights. We used POV shots of Five looking at Brian also to increase tension. These shots were notified as POV shots to the audience, as when Brian looked at the camera, we made it look like Five was hiding and he didn't want to be seen, and he was stalking his prey. This convention is used in modern horror films often. Films such as The Evil Dead and The Conjuring use this technique. Our finishing scene is one we are most proud of simply as it defies and goes against normal climactic scenes, conventions in films. It's 8 shots of Brian being chased in hand with 16 beats of music. Each other beat is a clip shown. This was different and added to the challenging of conventions for modern horror films. We thought the silent aspect made the audience focus on the impact of the music and film together and the impact it had on building tension. Our opening film included a backstory, and we believe this to be a major element in horror films that gives the audience some context into what they are watching. Our backstory revolved around a post shared a lot on social media. We thought this would link strongly to teenagers, as they are our target audience. This would be similar to a horror film called Unfriended, which revolved around Facebook, the popular social media site used mainly for teenagers. The colour scheme used was a typical convention of horror thriller films for the antagonist who wore all black, obviously contrasting this to the protagonist who was wearing normal relatively bright clothing. The antagonist looked sinister. This is a popular convention for antagonist costumes to be black, for example Darth Vader in Star Wars. We did also, however, go against the typical horror conventions when editing and changing the colour scheme. We wanted the scenes to be quite colourful to defy the normal convention and also to strongly contrast against the all-black antagonist. How does your media represent social groups? Our media product does not strongly relate or represent certain social groups in society. However, the actors used were teenagers of our age, and we wanted them to also be perceived as teenagers. The fact our main actor is perceived as a teenager and his role in the film suggests that young people should not be underestimated. Our protagonist deals with the situation in our film opening perceived as a young character, and we embraced this with open arms. We didn't want an adult playing this role as we preferred the idea of a young person proving their worth. It also goes against the usual conventions of horror thriller films, having the teenager as the protagonist. We liked this, so we stuck with it. What kind of media institution might distribute your product and why? We are not going to pretend like our film should win Oscars or be a feat film to make you question life existence like some films are made to do. We went into this film after watching 3 similar horror/thriller films. We watched The Conjuring, Insidious and Paranormal Activity. We love the idea of our film being a quick scare film with basic story but able to create tension and scares that pay off. It would be aimed at teenagers similar to most modern horror films, and this is why the distributor we would go with would be Blumhouse Productions, whose most recent films, Sinister 2, The Visit and the upcoming Ouija 2. One of the first films they produced was the original Paranormal Activity, a film that has backed itself perfectly on the idea of it being a very low budget quick scare horror film. Critics weren't a fan, however. Fans of horror films loved it, and I believe one of the main reasons for the unexpected hype this film received was based around the low budget idea. Our film would also be low budget. more million than millions in pricing. We wanted to declare this as we thought a high budget film takes the rawness away. It adds too much Hollywood and it's noticeable. It removes the tension and therefore the scare. Another great example of using this low budget formula would be the Blair Witch Project, and now a cult film which probably wouldn't have its success if it was a high budget Hollywood blockbuster. Therefore, with our film, we follow the conventions of modern horror. Who would be the audience for your media product? Our audience would be older teenagers, people not interested in getting deeply involved with film, people just looking for an escape from reality with a few added scares on the way. So regarding this, we would have our age rating of 15. As our film would include strong language, violence and mild gore, making it a 15. We wouldn't want a specific gender, social class or ethnicity for our film to be aimed toward, as we believe anyone could pick it up and enjoy it. I understand this applies to some films. For example, women prefer rom-coms. However, I don't believe it has real-world application and can be quite stereotypical, as anyone can enjoy a good horror film. How would you attract/address your audience? In our film, the protagonist would be a typical relatable teenager. He would be studying, has a girlfriend, normal friendship group and plays football. He would be similar and relatable to most young people. This is so people instantly relate to him. This is a popular convention used in horror films, putting the audience into the same mindset of the protagonist. The setting would be modern suburbia and then a forest. These are both also relatable to modern people. Most people have been to or live in out-of-city suburbias. This again relates to the audience being put in the same mindset of the protagonist. The other characters would include the protagonist's friends and girlfriend. The friends of the protagonist would have normal British humour with him. This again is relatable and would also provide a lighter aspect into some of the film sections, as it would margin into humour. This would also be a factor challenging the normal conventions. The music used twice in the opening sequence of the film is Kanye West's Runaway. The well-known hook of this song is universal, instantly recognisable to those in a target audience and those not therefore attracting people, as we would use it in the trailer also. Marketing. We would use trailers, however they would be different to the conventional horror trailer. They would depict the quality of normal life until the end of the trailer, where things would get out of hand and the audience would have a slight glimpse of 5. We wouldn't use a voiceover, however, as we believe they are used too often in modern horror films and believe a trailer sporting a different approach to the regular throwaway formula would be intriguing to people, attracting them to see this movie. For example, the trailer for High Rise was set to be an advertisement for the high rise and created buzz. We would use billboards in cities, preferably popular university cities, to link with the target audience. The billboards would be intriguing and different, not really advertising the film but instead making people think that then they would link to the film. A powerful slogan or even question with a powerful image. Our main marketing plea, however, would be through the internet. Social media would provide an excellent introduction to the film. They would provide posters, trailers and other information instantly with rare updates to provide hype. We would produce a video on popular streaming site YouTube also. It would be a prank video scaring members of the public or even maybe celebrities to provide extra buzz. These methods work as other horror films have used them in the past also. They get popular fast as people share, like and eventually follow the film page. This, in an instant, relatively cheap way of marketing, perfect for our genre. What have you learned from this process of constructing this product? Physically, we used the cameras to film, which we had to learn and use to adapt to. We also had to use the tripods effectively. For our film studio logo, we had to use the Adobe After Effects, which included having to learn to add text and create a lens flare effect on an image. We also had to learn how to blog and how to update and create a post to having the embedded videos onto posts to show media text we were analysing. Technology, however, we had to learn was Adobe Premiere. This was to edit our opening from a few other clips we filmed into a film opening. This included adding text to the titles, placing the videos on the timeline in the correct order, and learning how to edit how we viewed the film image from its colour to the grain on the image. It was fun, however, finally getting what you wanted, the opening of the film, to what we all originally planned at the beginning, with the quick editing to the image matching with the music on the final climactic scene. This we enjoyed. Looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel you've learnt in the progression from it to the full product? I believe the quality of the actual filming plays a main part in the climb of quality. In our final product, we use a range of different shots and act in the best way possible to complete immersion. This of course involved us to work professionally as a group, meeting deadlines and doing extra work in free periods to refine the editing. Which brings us on to another factor to the final product, which I believe was more refined in the final product, the editing. The editing had to be a crucial part of the task. Unlike the preliminary task, we spent a long time learning the software. Learning how to edit the image and learning certain techniques used in the final product. We did not, however, really have to apply the 180-degree rule to our final product, as there is not any dialogue scenes between people.